Welcome to the Psychic Sleuth radio show. I'm Natalie and I'll be your co-host. We're going to be exploring missing and unsolved murder cases using different methods that are not traditional but can be very effective. And it's extremely interesting. I'll be introducing Rachelle, who is a psychic medium. With her gifts, we'll be exploring recent and cold missing persons and unsolved murder cases. Rachelle has worked on many cases in the past and is accurate in her information that she receives. But please remember, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. These are only psychic impressions. So, sit back, relax, and open your mind to the Psychic Sleuth. Our case today is about a missing person case. Our missing person, her name is Jessie Moore. She's been missing since June 20th of 2016. And from what I can tell, there are no promising leads at this time. Jessie is a 23-year-old mother of two boys. She's 5'2" with green eyes. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Jessie, please call the anonymous tip line at 508-474-5377. Okay, now I'm going to bring in Rachelle. I'm going to have her explain what her gifts are and how she works to come to get the information that she gets. Rachelle?
Hi, everyone. This is Rachelle, and I'm known as the Psychic Sleuth, and I used to have a podcast called that, and you can still kind of find it on Spotify that will kind of show how I work a little bit and how I use my gifts. But basically, I am a psychic medium and remote viewer, so I will get information in different ways. Sometimes I'm able to remote view areas or what happened. Sometimes I get my messages from spirit, and other times it's psychic information. It all kinds of comes in together, so sometimes I don't really know where it's coming from, but I can tell when I'm channeling spirit. So basically, I'm really clairvoyant, so I mostly see what's going on. Sometimes it will be like a movie, sometimes it will be just little pictures that come in, and oftentimes spirit is extremely symbolic, so it'll be symbols, and then we kind of have to figure out what it means. I'll hear things as channeling or words or sentences, and I will just know things sometimes, or I will feel things, passing or an ailment or something of that sort. It kind of all plays in together in order to get the bigger picture. And it's like puzzle pieces. So basically we take the puzzle pieces and we put them together to see what may have happened or who is involved or where they're at. Still working on my location. It's not as great as I would like it to be, but I mostly do get a description of the area. And so it's just trying to find that description and then learning how it feels once I've found it. So we've been working on some cases recently. Some are getting to where I feel like they're going to be successful, like we're close. So sometimes things will come in as multiple meanings. So if I get a 5, for instance, it can be used for more than one thing, or just there's not always just one meaning for something that spirit gives. So that's something. Also, I do get past, present, and future. Sometimes other spirits can jump, so they can jump in, and sometimes I don't realize it because they just jump in, give quick information, and so sometimes it may not match the case we're working on, but we are trying to hyper-focus it down, because mostly sometimes I do auto-write, and when I auto-write, which I have done on YouTube, I get multiple cases and multiple spirits, and so it's kind of hard to figure out what goes where. But even in this case, spirit does give past, present, and future. They do bring up people that are alive sometimes. When I'm working as in this kind of work to where I'm trying to work on a case, I do try to focus more on who did it, where it happened, where the people are, and so I try to bring spirit in that way. And usually it's different than a regular reading base. Sometimes the information is clear and sometimes it's not. It all depends on the spirit that's coming through as to how clear it is. When someone's alive, I don't seem to get as much information because it's coming from guides, but I've been working on a symbol to tell me if they are alive or past with my guides, so that's been working pretty well. But sometimes I get a lot and sometimes I don't get too much. It just depends on how much energy the spirit has, how well they communicate. There's a lot of different factors.
Well, would you like to learn this week's case?
Yes, but first, make sure that everybody knows that I know nothing of what we're talking about. You guys have a completely separate group that I am not a part of.
Exactly. We do have a completely separate group of individuals. We will decide on cases. We research a case once it is decided upon, and we never tell Rachelle. The first time she learns about the case that we picked for that week is now when we start the reading. That way it is authentic. And we will go back afterwards and research more if we have to get more validations from what she's gotten during this reading. I have researched it a little bit and I have taken some notes about some basic information, and so if she hits on anything right now, we can definitely validate it after the reading. So I'm really excited to get started. Are you ready?
Or during the reading, depending on if I hit on it.
Yes, I may get super excited and start screaming. I know that. Because
right.
You got something. So what I'm actually going to do right now, Rachelle, if it's okay with you, I'm going to send you this week's case. I'm going to send you her picture through your messenger. Okay?
Okay.
And the reason I'm doing that is so I'll send her a picture. She can look at the face of the person that we're talking about this week, and she can get readings, and it helps her focus in on that spirit. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'll be able to connect to their energy.
Right. So I am sending her picture through Messenger so she gets her picture.
And also, I know that me and my guides have been really working together to kind of decide if someone is passed or still alive. We have our specific symbols that we've been working on. So, we're not 100%, no one's 100%, but I know that we are definitely working on that part as well, because that's hard to tell sometimes.
On the pictures, just so everyone knows, the pictures I sent her, and this is what will make it hard being on radio, the pictures I send her are just pictures. It doesn't have a lot of information, if any, on the pictures itself. I send her the pictures strictly so she can see the face. This woman, I will let you know, Rachelle, she is missing. This happened a few years ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just want to take a second and take a deep breath and kind of focus in on her energy, you go right ahead. And then when you're ready to start, when you feel like you have something, if you want to kind of focus in and let me know what you feel.
Well, this is the lady that was knocking on my heater.
I didn't want to tell you that, but yes, ma'am. That is a funny side story.
That's a funny side story. Started picking her up when they were working on her in the other group, and I had no idea what they were doing, and started getting information, and let's just say she banged on my heater 3 times as loud as she could. Pay attention to me.
Scared the tar out of you.
Yeah, I did, because I wasn't expecting it. All right. I'm kind of getting flashes of kind of what I got prior, kind of just coming back in a little bit.
Would you like to talk about that, what you got prior? Because
If,
we never
if I can remember.
Okay, so we've never validated that it was from her or anything. We just didn't tell you. We drove you crazy, basically.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to say one more thing, too, is when I get names, they can link to them directly, or they can just be connected in some way. Same things with months. They can be linked to birthdays or whatnot, in connection to her.
Right.
Or connected to the person that's, or the persons of interest. So I just want to put that out there because I have a feeling that some of that stuff might come up.
Okay, great.
Well, the first thing I saw basically was that damn blue bandana that I've been seeing for, 3-4 weeks now. Navy blue, but it was kind of like, I remember I was going back and forth between navy blue and black because the blue was, I don't know if that means it's both colors or if it's just kind of in between, like a really dark blue.
Okay. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, usually bandanas are kind of gang associated in a way.
Uh-huh.
From what I've noticed as far as the symbolism, which is another thing I forgot to mention, that spirit's really symbolic sometimes. So I'm trying to pull her back in because I know that she was very yappy before, but I do remember getting a drug connection and the word crack house. I don't use that word, but that's what was brought in before. And a big kind of F-150 type looking darker colored truck. The name, it's Carlos, but known as Carlo.
Okay. Now, I will let you know the drug, crack house, that kind of scene, that's putting you right on the right track right there.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel like she was kind of mixed in with a few different men. I keep getting reference to a boyfriend and ex-boyfriend, and then there seems to be some more men around her. I honestly don't want to say it, but I'm hearing the word prostitution.
There is not a specific validation on that, but knowing her history, that's very possible.
Right. And drugs can do that a lot of the time. But I'm starting to see that man again that I saw before. He, see, now I'm starting to wonder if it's not connected to all that stuff going on in Washington. Because that's all gang related too.
Do you?
Because the guy I see is a Mexican guy or a Spanish guy, or and I don't know if the bandana is something he wore. That's just to symbolize people that he's involved with.
Well, do you want to know her location of her missing?
Yeah, you can give me that.
Well, and the reason I ask because
probably Kashmir.
No, it's Washington.
Yeah, well, Washington, Kashmir's in Washington, near Washington.
And I just thought that was very interesting because you said that you brought up Washington and that they're all connected.
Well, I have to tell you something, and this is there's a lot of sex trafficking going on in Washington right now, and they do take these girls that are very vulnerable and into drugs.
Well, right, they would be easy targets for them, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, that might be where some of the prostitution is coming in as well. Not necessarily, more to stay alive than anything else.
Right, exactly.
Well, and I don't believe in coincidences. I think that there's a big push for something to be happening in Washington to where things are brought to light. It's really hard because there's a lot of people involved. It's it's very involved. I'm also getting reference to motorcycles.
Okay.
And there's too much that's going here as far as the information that I'm getting. I'm seeing stuff, and I don't even know if I should say it because it happens to go with the case that we've been working on for months now. You know, the side of a mountain, if you will.
Right.
Cavey area. What she did not show me that before. I thought maybe when I first got this that her boyfriend was involved, but I think this has to do more with another man that she was involved with these other. She keeps paying reference to this same color, same type of truck that we've been looking for with the other case.
Oh, wow.
Dark blue, F-150 type big with tinted windows. Same truck. Looks like the same truck anyways.
Wow, well then that kind of opens up a whole can of worms, doesn't it?
Yep, and then the whole blue bandana, we just realized I was actually connecting to the other case as well.
Is this something you want to continue with, this case?
Well, I'm not sure what information we should put out there.
Right, because I did not realize at all, I'll be honest, that it was connected to anything with any of the case you're working on.
I didn't realize it either until now.
So we got here.
Because before she kept showing me and she kept talking about a Carlo, and she kept calling him Carlo. Like, his name is Carlos, but he goes by Carlo. And it was as soon as I got that name, that's when the knocks on the heater happened.
That's crazy.
So that blue bandana it's popped up in the other cases. I think she's trying to show me in the way of the connection, because she's showing me the different types of things. Because since she knocked on the heater before, obviously I don't feel like she's still on this earth plane.
So you do feel like she is deceased?
Yeah, well, because she knocked on the heater before. There was no one else that would have done it at that point in time. I was working on this case.
Right.
And I kept getting a reference to needles, and I kept getting a reference just to that kind of wild lifestyle that she wished she would have never gotten into.
And that describes her very well.
Because she it looks like, I feel like there's a young lady that she's connected to that she feels really bad for getting herself involved in this kind of stuff. She says when she was down that road, it was hard to turn her back on. It was kind of so easy. And again, they show me the railroad tracks. I don't know if there were any where she went missing or in the area, or if that is the other, because I've gotten that in the case I'm working on as well, but we know what those tracks are. They're not really railroad tracks.
Now, earlier you mentioned cashmere.
Yeah, there's something about that.
Well, I have a validation for you where that comes in. Would you finally like it after all this time?
Sure.
She went to Cashmere High School, this missing woman we're talking about right now. I know that there is a place also that is called Cashmere, but she did go to Cashmere High School. When you first got that several weeks ago, I thought it was amazing because you just popped up with that, and I'm like, where did she get that? And that was around the time with the knocking on the heater and everything else. So,
Right. Well, this guy is important. I don't know if he's part of the ones that gets them from from the crack house, because I feel like that's an area where some of these girls are taken from. I know there's lots of missing girls in Washington from what I've learned so far.
yes.
And I keep getting referenced that the crack house is like, it's a white house. It looks, I think there's a couple of them actually, because I don't know if she's showing me right now the kind of people that own it and what they live in, because theirs is a white kind of A-frame house, and then you have the crack house that kind of looks like an old abandoned business kind of thing with the windows on the top and the bottom, but they're like some are broken out. So she keeps showing me that, and I don't know why she's saying that. She said they'll never find me. I don't know.
Well, she has been missing already for a couple of years. They do not have much in the way of leads at all. And if anyone knows anything, which I would assume, someone always knows something, they're not talking.
Of course they're not. If it's connected the way we think that it's connected, no one's going to talk.
Exactly.
And I think that I don't know if it's one of her ex-boyfriends or someone that she knew and introduced her to someone that got her in the situation. There's a connection there. And I do know about these guys, and there are some Mexican guys that do run along with it.
I think it's wild that you bring up Hispanic or Mexican males, and because the last sighting was with her being next to a Hispanic male, is how they describe it.
Right. And I mean, I feel like he's responsible for handing her off. They had their eye on her for a while, is what I'm hearing. Yep, I think it's connected to the case we're looking at, because she's showing me some of the same stuff I've been getting for months.
That's crazy. So, to generalize it, a human,
like I don't feel that he had anything to do with on his own. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like a group of people, not just him.
Mm-hmm. So you
do
think
we know
in
what
your
he was
mind,
driving?
The only description that was given was they stated a witness, it didn't state who, saw her get into a dark-colored car with a Hispanic male. Yeah, well, it seems that all their cars and trucks are dark. Right? I know.
But this definitely, I definitely see this truck. Now, whether it's, here it goes again, whether it's because, they're connected to that guy with the truck, or the truck's pretty loud. It's got a loud exhaust on it. It's got those, what are they called? Like you step up on them and then you get in the truck. I don't know what they're called. It's got those on it.
Mm-hmm.
I keep getting referenced to a Z, and I got a reference to that before. I'm just wondering it's the same truck. The truck looks the exact same as the one I've been seeing for months now. So I'm wondering if she's just trying to show me that it's connected.
Well, that's very possible. And there's so much information that you've gotten before on the other cases, and if she fits in with all of that, then you're probably seeing a lot of the same things.
Mhm. I am, and it's stuff that I'm not wanting to really make public, because, like I said, this is a big network.
Well, and it could be dangerous as well for you.
And I have ideas of where she's saying I'm among them, but yeah, there's definitely a Carlos, but known as Carlo, because that was a very, very clear name. And he might not be Mexican, he might be Puerto Rican or something like that. I know a Carlos, but they do call him Carlo, and he's Puerto Rican, so it just might be that, kind of, they speak Spanish, and I'm hearing the word, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to offend anybody. Well, I don't try to offend anybody.
Well, I think people have to also understand that you're saying what the spirits are giving you. This is not necessarily you speaking.
Yeah, it's not, but I always try to give what I get, but at the same time, I don't want to offend anybody. And with this is her personality. She's just very outspoken. If she had something to say, she was going to say it.
Well, have you decided if you're going to say the word?
Vato. You know that word that they use?
I'm not familiar.
I looked it up before exactly what the meaning was, but
can you give me a PG rated version of the meaning?
Yeah, it's basically in Spanish-speaking regions used to address or refer to a man. So they're calling him like a Spanish man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think you handled that well.
Right. Do you know if she got in the back of the car with that guy or the front?
It doesn't say. I am actually looking right now at the witness, what the witness said, and it just says that she was reported last seen getting into a dark-colored car with a Hispanic male. It does not say if she got in the front or the back.
Okay, because I feel like there was more than one guy in that car. I don't think she knew that at the time, though.
Do you see tinted windows?
It feels like I don't know if she was getting in for a drug/prostitution thing, is what it feels like to me. Mm-hmm. Is why she got in willingly, and I feel like they use that to their advantage. They trap these girls in that are vulnerable and that are sometimes wanting to score on drugs, and they take advantage of it. They use it to their advantage, and that's basically what I feel happened. Is they use what she does and what she's into to their advantage to get her into the car. And I feel like she kind of knew him, though. Like, she'd seen him around at the crack house or whatever. Hearing the word dealer, I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. So I feel like the dealer is definitely involved in some way.
Do you think the dealer, we know that she was involved in drugs. Do you think maybe her dealer, you're saying, is maybe helping this group of people direct them to females that he thinks would be especially easy to coerce?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, we did learn something about the blue and black colors, and that might be why I saw both bandanas, why I was seeing a dark blue and then a black, and I was like, well, I don't know which one it is, because it's kind of like the same, they're showing me two different ones, but now I know why.
And say that's...
just, in Washington, they're not, I think that there are people that are open, that know what's going on, but then they don't do anything about it, because it's such a wide network.
Do you think people are scared as well for their lives if they go to authorities? Or do you feel like they know if they went to authorities, it wouldn't do any good?
Right. Because, they don't feel like that. They probably feel like the authorities can be involved in this kind of thing. Like we're talking about people getting paid off. Some of the stuff that she's giving me is the same stuff I've been getting. And so that's why I feel like it's connected.
I just know there are things that you don't want to say.
Other things. Yeah, there's a couple of other things that she's showing me, like she's having a gun held on her, and these are rough men. And there's a guy that I've been seeing, and I talked to you and the other person we were working with on it about, he's got like 2 teardrops under his left eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Mexican guy, and he's bald, like, or not much hair. And I'm seeing him again, so there's another reason I'm thinking it's connected. And I hear lots of Spanish. I keep being shown specific things that we've been working on in the other cases, or in the other case. There's many, many missing girls that are connected to this. And the spirit I was working with said it wasn't just about her, it was about all these other girls too. And I think this might be one of them. And I don't think it's a coincidence you brought her up. I feel like regardless of what she was doing in her life, with the drugs and the bad decisions, mm-hmm. she's stating, she still deserves, like all the other ones, to be found, because a lot of them are actually like that.
Right, absolutely.
A lot of these girls they're taken advantage of, and it's kind of used. And then also these guys know that they're not going to be missed, and that's not me saying that. That's just how it is. They're not going to go, it's different looking for someone that's in drugs and people take it serious, and that's someone that's not. Do you know what I mean?
Unfortunately, yes, I understand exactly what you mean.
Because, they don't seem to take it the same way, and that's just how the world works, sadly. Okay, within her, she's got a bright light. Like, she's a beautiful spirit. These pictures of her are when she's happy, and she's not as deep into the drug use. And it's super sad to see that happen to someone, and to see what these kind of things can do.
It really
is.
Definitely. She's a gorgeous girl, and has such a bright smile.
She's a goofball too.
Well, we would get along good then.
Yeah. She just made some bad decisions. She's just saying, I just made some bad decisions. And her spirit's strong, but it's weird because she came through much stronger that day that I didn't know you guys were working on the case, and I was getting stuff. Mm-hmm. And basically, I think I said everything that I was getting that day. But I think it's because she's at the same time wanting to keep it low key, but get her point across. And if people research that area, they'll kind of know what I'm talking about. And in a dream, I did dream, well, it was the other person I was dreaming about, but the cat's name was Cashmere, and it was so I would remember it when I woke up. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if maybe they were telling me that this is connected in that way. I've been trying to figure it out for kind of months, because there could be a few different reasons. Yep, because she's showing me goats. So, which I know Cashmere is made out of goat. I know it's made out of goat.
But
fur,
if she just showed you goats, though, in your mind's eye?
Yeah.
So I would think, would you think that would be her validation to you to say, yes, you were on the right track with your thoughts?
Well, it's the same stuff I've been getting for months, so yeah.
Well, that's, it's a scary thought, though, that they're all connected. How many more women? Do you know what I'm saying?
A lot. A lot.
And I will say to listeners that the case that Rachelle's been working on privately, it does center around Washington State. Am I correct, Rachelle?
Yes. I keep getting a reference to... She's saying June, July, but I don't know why she's saying both. Where does 2013 come in? Anywhere? Do we know?
Not that I'm aware of. I can definitely check into that.
Might be someone else she's talking about that's connected, too.
She was last seen in June.
Okay.
Or was reported missing the end of June.
So that's why it would be June, July, because it's the end of June.
Right.
Right.
So she may have been last reported. Her last sighting was reported in June, but I wonder do you think if that she's showing you June for that and then showing you July because maybe that's when she crossed over, or what would be your opinion on that?
Well, since it's the end of June, she's probably saying that they didn't really kind of take it seriously till July. And we know they hold them, and depending on how well they do and all of that, they could hold them for years, or they could hold them for a month, or it just depends. She's definitely a fighter, but I do see her drugged up, and, she's kind of really drugged up, because they keep them drugged up. Like really badly. So
like to almost where they can't function?
Right.
Okay. Do you get a feeling on maybe the type of drugs they use, or is that something that you prefer not to say?
Well, it's definitely a needle drug.
Okay.
Probably heroin or something that they were using prior if they were on drugs. But I keep getting the reference to heroin. Which is really easy for these guys to get. They're connected to the blue and black colors.
But, I mean, what an interesting first case I brought to you. My mind is kind of blown that this is what we start with. And normally, I know, just from working on your research team for a while now, that what you get normally is a lot different than what you've gotten now, and a lot more detailed information usually comes out. But this first case was a doozy. And
because, like I said, she did show me all of that before when I was working on it, when I didn't know you guys were working on it. She came around the same time that you guys were working on it. I don't know why that was, but she kind of told me most of the information then, and then now she's, I think, showing me stuff to show me that it's connected. Because these guys run that, they run that around that whole area in Washington, over by I don't even know how to say that, Highway 2, and this, how do you say the S words, county or city, I don't know. It has a squash at the end of it. I don't know. I can't say the word.
I'm Southern, so no matter how I pronounce it, it's going to be wrong. So, but normally your readings are different than this. But I think that this being the first case, I think it's kind of wild. But there is a lot that I know you are holding back. and I'm sad to hear that she has passed over. And there was a lot you got. It was kind of weird when we picked that case, this case right here, and started working on it. It was within 24 hours she came through to you.
Yeah, because usually I do get more, but I think she's holding back, and I think that, like, she's showing me different things to show me it's connected, because sometimes it's hard to tell if these cases are connected because there's so many different missing people. It can be, you know, exes, someone they know, serial killers, this trafficking thing. It can be a bunch of different things, you know? So I think that in her showing me the things she's showing that I'm not saying, there's videotapes of these girls too.
That's sad. While they're in part of the trafficking.
Yep, they videotape them sometimes.
That's awful.
Well, I was just shown a video camera, so.
Oh, I believe you. It's just awful.
Yeah, and tapes being made. Well, yep. And I just keep showing her, like, super drugged out.
Well, Rachelle.
And my chest is hurting really bad, so I don't know if maybe they just gave her too many drugs. Very possible. Her functions just gave out, you know. Because I feel like she maybe started to fight it. You know, she had that personality, like, oh, I'd rather just die than be stuck here doing this over and over and over and over for these people. You know, if I'm going to do it, it's going to be my decision. I'm not going to be forced to do it.
Right, right. And from what I've read about her before she went missing, and things that people have said about her, while she had her problems and she made bad decisions in her life, as we all do, I think she was a fighter.
No, she definitely was. She had that personality.
Right.
You know, very extroverted kind of, you know, I'll do things my way. And I mean, it's super sad. She just got wrapped up in the wrong people and they took advantage of her. And I think, like I said, there's multiple cars, there's multiple people. So it would be that she's seen getting into one car, but I guarantee you ain't going to find that car. Right. I don't even know if you're going to find this truck, but I think you will. I mean, I think it's out there because it's the same truck I've been seeing, and it is. I did get F-150 or something like an F-150. Spirit will give it to me how I relate to it, and I relate to what F-150s are. So,
well, Rachelle, I really appreciate that you working on this case with me today. Blows my mind that this case comes and relates to this big, huge case that involves so many people and so many victims. And I will go back with some of the information that you have given me to see if I can validate it. How do you feel now?
I'm feeling like I wish you would have gave me more, but I mean, I was able to pick up the drugs in the crack house and the Spanish guys and the month, so I guess she's showing that she's here because there's no way I knew any of that, but the specific details I'm kind of keeping to myself at this point in time.
And I do know that. I know that there are things that you don't want to say out loud, and I completely understand that. But I feel like you got her. I feel like she came through right when we started working on her. And I know it drove you crazy because we wouldn't tell you anything. We would not validate anything you were getting. So I know you thought you were losing your mind.
And she was super strong. And when I was channeling, and I was trying, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to remember all this stuff I'm channeling, but that's basic. I mean, that's the basic stuff I remember, and it's the same kind of stuff she's bringing through, but I know that definitely that name somehow has to be connected because it's so clear. And usually names, like, yeah, they can be close to. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like, I'll hear like a name, and I'll hear sometimes it'll be a first name, sometimes it'll be a last name, and sometimes it'll be both. Right. I never know. And it's really hard to get that kind of stuff. It's hard to get addresses and license plates, but it has been done. But I do know, and maybe she's only kind of telling me the first name for that reason, but I am picking up a G, so I don't know if that's a last name or
well, she did go by
a first name of someone else.
She did go by two different names per se, but the middle name she always went by was Grace. And that's a G. That may be her validating herself.
Right. I mean, it could be her, or it could be him. I don't know.
Of course, it could be
so
multiple
things. I was trying to hone
things.
on them, but it could be both. Though I was going to mention that too, that things can have multiple meanings, or more than one meaning, I should say.
Well, Rachelle, I'm so glad you joined me today. I am going to wrap it up for the day because knowing me and you, we could talk forever. But hopefully, if you get something after we're done, we can always come back next week with that and validate anything that you've gotten that you've given me today. I really appreciate your time, your effort, and the gift that God has given you.
Thank you.
If you would like to submit a case for the Psychic Sleuth to work on, you can send us an email at thepsychicsleuthshow@yahoo.com. Also, if you're interested in reading Rachelle's book called R&R Love, A Twin Flame Story, you can purchase it at amazon.com. Thank you for listening today, and I hope you come back next week for another episode of The Psychic Sleuth.